At the height of their fame, the Beatles were more than just a band. They were an empire. Their ambition had expanded far beyond music, stretching into record labels, fashion, film, and art. But that same desire to control every corner of their world began to unravel it. The man who had once steered their business affairs, Brian Epstein, had died 2 years earlier, leaving the group to manage themselves, a recipe for chaos. What followed was a domino effect of confusion, resentment, and exhaustion that would eventually lead to their breakup. Before the end came, though, the band had to survive the grind of being the Beatles. Their days were consumed by endless business meetings inside the Apple Records offices, where they debated everything from single releases to royalty payments. The atmosphere swung between mind-numbing boredom and bitter conflict. George Harrison despised it all, so much that he once walked out and escaped to Eric Clapton's garden, where he wrote "Here Comes the Sun." Yet, while trapped in one of those suffocating meetings, Harrison made a remark that would stay with Paul McCartney for years. Exactly what Harrison said has been lost to time. McCartney has alternated between confirming and dismissing the story. Still, legend holds that Harrison muttered something like, "If we ever get out of here," a sigh about the endless meetings, and later joked that maybe they should just become a band on the run. Whether he said those words or not, the sentiment was real. The band felt imprisoned by their own success, chained to contracts and legal disputes instead of instruments and creativity. The magic of being the Beatles was fading into the misery of managing the Beatles. Reflecting on that period in a 2010 interview with Clash Music, McCartney said, "It was symbolic. If we ever get out of here, all I need is a pint a day." We'd started out as kids who just loved music and wanted to earn enough for a guitar or a car. But then it became business meetings and all that. In their desperate attempt to untangle the chaos, the group hired Alan Klein, a ruthless manager known for bullying record executives. McCartney objected, preferring Lee and John Eastman, his new wife Linda's father and brother, to handle their affairs. But he was outvoted. Klein took control, and McCartney's instincts proved right when the band later found themselves fighting to free their finances from Klein's grip in the early 1970s. By 1973, the Beatles were finally free from Klein, and McCartney couldn't help but look back at those wasted hours in the Apple boardroom. It was then that Harrison's words resurfaced. In Paul McCartney, in his own words, he recalled, "It started off with, 'If I ever get out of here.' That came from a remark George made at one of the Apple meetings. He was saying we were all prisoners in some way. If we ever get out of here, the prison bit." That seemed a good way to start an album. Ironically, Harrison hadn't always made songwriting easy for McCartney. The two often clashed during Beatles recording sessions, with Harrison frustrated by McCartney's perfectionism. Yet in this one moment, Harrison's offhand remark became the spark McCartney needed. At the same time, McCartney was dealing with his own troubles, including several run-ins with the law over marijuana possession. He began to romanticize the idea of escape, freedom, rebellion, open skies. He thought about the American West, about outlaw bands like the Eagles and the Byrds, and started building a loose story in his mind, a group of fugitives breaking free from confinement. He decided to craft the song as a mini-suite, like his earlier Uncle Albert/Admiral Halsey. That creative burst led to the defining anthem of his next album with Wings, a song about liberation, survival, and reclaiming joy after the storm, Band on the Run.